Hey there, friends! So I conquered yet another book. So this is The Ravens by Kass and Danielle Paige. So this was through my Barnes & Noble book buying spree because they have a lot of like special editions or signed editions, and I really fell in love with that with Fairy Loot. I decided to buy up a lot of those. I think I got a little confused with the Raven Boys, so I expected people to be talking about this book more, and I really don't think I've seen anything about it yet. Even though it does say it's the YA book club. I'm going to start with a very short summary. In this book, we follow two different girls throughout a year at Westerly College. So Vivi, the first girl that we're introduced to, moves around a lot with her mom. Her mom reads tarot cards for people, and Vivi thinks it's all just a scam. And Vivi's mom keeps saying, oh, I have an ill feeling and we have to move. And Vivi's ready to not do that anymore. She's looking forward to the stability that 4 years at a college will provide. It sounds as though she hasn't gotten to stay 4 years anywhere, and she's already pretty used to being the new one there, but she's hoping that at this new college with a lot of freshmen coming in, she's not going to be the only new person at this school. The other girl that we follow, her name is Scarlett. Her life seems all laid out before her. Her mom was president of the sorority. Just an aside real quick, I didn't do a lot of Greek stuff. I don't know a lot of Greek stuff as far as like fraternities and sororities. So I'm just going to refer to them the way that they're referred to throughout most of the book, which is just the Ravens. They have actual Greek letters and like a Greek name, but everyone calls them that, so I'm going to too, just for the sake of simplicity. But anyway, Scarlett's mom was the president of the Ravens in her time in school. Her big sister did that as well, so it's expected that she's going to become president next year. So this year is all about doing a lot of good work for the sorority and really cementing her place as the president, hopefully next year. But that is the journey that both girls start on. At the beginning of the book, they both are drawn more together through the sorority that is the Ravens and go down a very magical journey. So as I said a little bit earlier, we do follow two different girls. They both get their own narrative spotlights, during which we are privy to their thoughts, but there's the same narrative voice throughout of being third person past tense. So a little bit of something to ground you, help be a through line between characters. Each chapter starts with telling you which character we're following, so this book shouldn't be too difficult in that aspect. So much the same with the initial insult, which was the book I just read before this. We see a lot of examination on how we treat each other. This book really focuses on a sense of togetherness. Since they're in a sorority together, they're often referring to sisterhood, and that's not just, oh, well, these people are my friends and need to be friendly to me no matter what. But it's also, oh, if one of them is hurting or having trouble, I need to be there to help them. So I thought that was really handled well throughout the book. We see a time or two where it crops up. It's not just one instance. But something that I liked a lot is one of the girls really messes up. She does something bad. And since we only focus on two of the girls, we don't see everybody's struggle. But we see at least one girl's struggle where she's like, well, I thought well of this person. I enjoyed this person. I thought they were good. But I don't know, I'm afraid to give too much away. Suffice to say, somebody does something wrong, but somebody else believes that they're not bad. And so they have to reconcile, okay, this person isn't just evil. It wasn't just always terrible, never did a good thing. Like, I enjoyed this person before the terrible incident. So we just see that person's struggle with trying to reconcile those two very different things. I hate what happened and I hate what you did, but I can't hate you. There were still enough good moments of the two of us together that I still like you and even love you like as a good friend and like a sister in this sisterhood. But make no mistake, like what you did was wrong. I just find it interesting to examine forgiveness kind of on that level of perhaps not forgiving the act, but forgiving the human. Anyway, that was interesting, but I wouldn't say that that was too mature of a theme. So I think, again, that was the theme I took away from it. There might be other themes peppered throughout, but that was the one that really stood out to me, and I would find that acceptable for all audiences. So I don't know how I feel about the romance in this book. Regardless of opinion, though, it never gets what I would consider too intimate. There is literal, like, talk and allusion to these two characters getting up to more than just smooching. But it is such an indirect allusion to that I don't think that would really count. And the only things that we see firsthand are a few smooches stolen throughout. This is a weird one with violence because there were no knives. There wasn't any like fighting each other with like hands or weapons or anything like that. But there is magic. They call it wicked magic, which I think doesn't need a lot of explanation, but it includes a lot of blood in the rituals, and there are some nasty things that come of it. I would probably say, because we see very little violence done, this book should still be good for most people. But there are still a few descriptions of blood or kind of the terrible aftermath of this wicked magic. So just be aware of that when picking it up yourself or recommending it. So overall, I don't have that many thoughts on this book, kind of like I touched on in the social complexities. I like how this book examined kind of the act of togetherness. There's a real emphasis on not just the good that comes along with it, but also the sharing of terrible burdens. And then we also see a specific character really wrestle with this person that I loved did something bad. It's hard to kind of reconcile those two and sort out your feelings because, well, this bad thing was really bad, but I also don't feel that that should counteract every good thing they did ever. And like, I still love them as like an individual, and so this is weird and this makes me uncomfortable, and there's just an extra layer of hurt anytime somebody close to you does something very terrible, especially if it's directed at you. The only other thing was really magic. I always love to see how authors tie in magic into a modern setting, so it was kind of cool to see the girls use it and like use glamours and like distraction charms and stuff like that. And there wasn't too much harping on like the history of how witches made it through to the current day. There's like a little whiff of it where Scarlett's like, oh yeah, my mom told me about all the suffering that witches have gone through. I don't know where I was going with that thought. Anyway, I just think all that builds together to make it like plausible and interesting to read about. And I like that the magic was tarot card based. I thought that was really interesting. I'm kind of surprised that Fairy Loot hasn't picked this up since their special monthly thing is a tarot card. Wouldn't you want a book about tarot card magic? So that was my review of The Ravens by Kass Morgan and Danielle Paige. Not that I think this video will be very long in the end, but the too long didn't watch, if you did skip ahead to the end of the video, is that I found the book interesting enough. It's not particularly my cup of tea with taking place in a sorority, and in like just the sorority I feel like sums it all up. I don't much care for school settings or usually even modern settings. I've been really enjoying high fantasy recently. I think it's still an interesting read, and I think it would really be worth recommending for any young gals getting ready to go to college or perhaps already in college. I think that might make it a little more intriguing to read then. But to quote both, I think it's a Southern saying, and then also like I heard it on a manga podcast, is I wouldn't kick it out of bed for crackers. It was entertaining, but I don't know how often I'll find myself actively recommending it. Anyway, I hope that you liked the video, and I just want to thank you so much for watching through it for me. That really means a lot, and I hope you're having a great day, and I get to see you in the next one. Bye for now.